know how ready, apart from Dasola,
Yeah.
or if you can also bring her up to speed with being in charge of meetings, setting up meetings and all that.
Who are you
I
talking about?
sense that there are a lot of Dasola
Okay, okay.
for our meetings in coupled with the bank stuff that you want, the partner stuff that you want to hand over to her.
Yeah.
I sense that there are so many people that we have not been seeing people in the past 1 month, 3 weeks, and I'm sensing some urgency in my spirit to release some people very quickly. Atobatele is number 1 on my list. Then Busola number 2.
What do you mean release?
So sometimes people might be in a place where normally they are supposed to move at the speed of God, not the speed of light. But they don't have that frame and they need to be launched. They need a booster.
Okay.
What God's anointing and God's grace can do is to accelerate that. That's what I mean by release.
Okay.
And yeah, so if you are free, I perceive that we should be moving into some phases where we can face those ones and not knowing that things related to meetings and other administrative things are completely off the hook.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I hear you. How would it look like? How would
No,
I get you though? I get you. I get you.
I don't want you to be fatty in the spirit right now, because there are some you might think we don't have it. Jesus said that those that do not have, even what they do not have, will be taken from them. I don't know if that is grammatically correct, but those that have, out of what they have, more will be given to them. So sometimes you might think you don't have something, and all of a sudden, when an instruction comes, you just see that there's an enabling strength from somewhere to make you do that thing. No, something has been there, but you like the man by the pool of Bethesda, or what was the name of that place? Bethesda, for 38 years. He said he was looking for somebody. I made my research very well. That guy was not lame, he was not blind, he was not deaf. He even had no leprosy at all. He was just lazy. That was it. Because for 38 years, if you are crawling, you will be by the pool of the water. You will just be by the mouth of it. Even if you know that you don't have strength, you would even crawl and see. The only thing you just had to tell Jesus for the question he asked you was, you are waiting for a man. There is no man to help you. Not like you are just lazy. so when the enabling strength had to come, but all along, there were things he could have done. 38 years was just too long. 38 years was just too much. It's not related. I just I perceive that there are some things that God will be taking my eyes away from for your sake, so that you can receive nudge in your spirit to attend to it. Nobody needs to say, okay, this is, You receive nudge to receive a word from the Lord, to pen it down. You receive ability to give it out. And you receive the ability as well to follow up on people and to pray for them. Okay? This place we are in now, everybody must identify what God is calling them to do and to sit in it and to rest in it. Okay. With little hand holding, little direction, the 21st century revival is going to be like that. No, everybody will hear the voice of the Lord and everybody will align, and the ranks will still not break. Everybody will go side by side like that. So I perceive that there are some things, if there is a witness in your spirit to say, I need to walk into something, there will definitely be a corresponding dissatisfaction to what you currently do. And so if we are sensing that, then it is important we start getting ready for the next level responsibility, which is what I'm perceiving that you should step into. It's by his own direction. There will be, your eyes will go there, your heart will be there. He will give you the nudge, and it will bring the ability, and you will do it. But you have to be free. You have to have that available. You have to be available. Okay, and so I didn't want to come out direct. For close to for months now. I've been trying. I'll just say it. I'll just keep quiet. I'll just say it. I'll just keep quiet. Don't you think you should begin to? Because sometimes if we don't give room by faith, expecting that there is something coming, that thing will not come. Just like one is tight-fisted. If you are not like this, it will not come. So if one is like this, what is coming will not come. One will have to release for something to come. Again, it's unrelated, but that is how God works. Okay.
What do you mean by it's unrelated?
One will have to give room. I'm talking of, what I mean is unrelated is when I liken giving and receiving, okay, to what I'm trying to say. And so I'm saying that we are not talking of giving and receiving, but it's just the same principle of God that is applicable to that. That was what I was trying to explain to Nosa, that God just took him to the class to experience it ahead of everybody, because I've been receiving that nudge that people should know how the economy of God works. So if you have it, that guy knew he needed to release something, and then someone somewhere also knew that he needed to release something to that guy. That's how the 21st century kingdom will work. Okay, so it won't be that somebody will stand and say, oh, because I am your father, you must do this thing, you must do that thing. Okay, so if we are saying that we in the past we have had a situation where some fathers had clawed the life of their children, they've held onto it, like almost wanting to sniff life out of them. Okay, so if we are agreeing that method is not, then we have to key into the acceptable method. Okay.
Yeah.
You understand? You have to key into the acceptable method, so that, and for me, by the mercies of God, that is how it works. That room has to be available, and then it will put it in your heart, and then the ability is there, and then you move, and then you just begin to see that you have now suddenly come into a place that you are now asking to be free again, so that you can go to the next one. So it will keep coming, but one has to quickly know, and then, receive the perception in the spirit to get to a particular location. The same way, I just said it in passing when Jumoke and Paul, when they were there, we should be working in a dimension now that I don't need to tell you that you should talk to me. You don't need to tell me that I should talk to you. We should be working in some form of technology right now in the spirit, that you just know that this is what you should be doing. And the other person just receives that, yes, somebody should be doing this, and then you come in and then you do it. Else fullness will only be a mirage. It would just be there somewhere, won't be able to walk in the practical, flow of it. Okay. So it's important if we are going to be different from what has happened before now, then the processes also must be different, and it must not be different. It will not be driven by the flesh, or by instruction, or by logic, or by reasoning. Okay. By the grace of God, I have seen technology in the spirit. I have seen it work. In fact, if I deny it by now, God should flog me. Serious flogging. And it has really worked. Worked in finance, worked in everything. Everything. Okay. So I believe, I perceive strongly that you must come into those things, but it won't come by somebody instructing you, move here or move there. If we are entering into the full creation living, or the new creation living, latching on to the divine nature of God, we must also complete that with something called pre-appointed time. And next to it will be the boundary of dwelling. Those two go with divine nature. Divine nature has boundary, divine nature has pre-appointed time. And those things, there will be no instruction, That's why I'm very particular about the question and answer, because God is going to shock a lot of people that day. We can't have an ever learning community that will not come into the practice of what they are hearing. Else, they are not different from what has happened before now. That's not where God is taking the new revival to, or the true revival coming. That's not where it's going. That's not where it's going. I remembered very well one of the sages. This thing is a very topical and sensitive matter, right? But I'm not afraid to step into that waters. I have seen it many times. It's always, I've fought very hard on it, and I believe that's God's kind of way. So one of the sages, he might say that it was unknowingly, but I perceive that he knew what he was doing. So he felt that, at first he asked me, in what capacity do you want me in your life? And I said to him, it goes without saying that you are a father to this generation. But I know quite well that what I'm doing around you is to support your ministry, to support you, give your ministry a voice, or give your ministry the will to move, which is financing. And so he will say, my son, he's okay. He's my father. Even physically, he can give back to me. I mean, not a big deal. But I started sensing that in the spirit, and at the same time, Pastor Deji also sensed it in the spirit. Now, this sage was connected to me by Pastor Deji. So this particular sage came through him. So I went back to him and I told him, immediately I mentioned it, then he told me what happened, what transpired between the two of them. So apparently, Pastor Deji had gone to his place and he was telling Pastor Deji how I've been tremendous, how I've been helping and stuff. I mean, I transferred about 1 million or 2 million. I mean, if it's not you, I won't mention it. I'm not that kind of person. But, and Pastor Deji laughed and Pastor Deji said that we thank God for everything. And Pastor Deji said, Daniel Bello is my launching pad. Now, the Lord gave him that nudge to use that word because something would happen afterwards. And immediately he said that the sage's face changed, the sage's face rather, changed seriously. And he was like, what does that mean? Pastor Deji was like, well, whatever that means to you is what it means. And I have been telling Pastor Deji since that the direction this is taking, I don't think I'm comfortable with it. I've been following Jesus. This method, I'm not saying that there is something wrong with the man. The man is very true. He has a very true spirit. I have a lot to learn from him, and God has helped me hang around him. But this, I don't think, I know who I belong to, and I know what I'm supposed to do around anyone. Okay, so, but we've also been careful in the spirit, because sometimes God will bring an irritation around you to test the content of your heart. And that's what I was talking to Paul. I mentioned it, but I brushed it aside. God will bring irritation to see how if you don't learn to look beyond the irritation, you won't glean from what God wants you to. If Elisha was not careful with Elijah's temperament, he won't get the double portion. He won't. He was very, very careful with that. He was very careful. So it's very important. So we many times we try to gauge in the spirit. We look beyond most of the things, but this one, I couldn't look beyond it. Now, pressing further in the spirit, we discover that there was a company that should have come to him, but because of the irritation from him, a lot of them couldn't come forward, because this sage is, trust me, it's not a 19th century sage. It's an 18th century, 17th century character framework. The person would rather die. So he will keep.
I wanted to address the terminologies you're using, because I'm understanding it. So when you use the word irritation, you're actually talking, with respect to the stage, now you're talking about his disposition. There's a certain disposition he has that is irritable to others.
Yes, exactly. Not that so he is the one having the irritation. The one giving it out.
I was trying to figure it out, but when you just use this, so when you were talking about Paul, you were saying, were you talking about Paul? So when you're talking about Paul, are you talking about the way he handles irritation?
Yes, the way he handles. God is now using him to people. Now the one giving out the irritation.
Okay. I'm not sure maybe he got it. I didn't get it that day. I didn't get what you're trying to say.
He got it. He got it because he was like, no wonder he has been acting the way he was, because he mentioned that. I said, no wonder he has been feeling somehow. And Jumoke later confirmed it, that some of the workers, some of them, they reported him once or twice and stuff. I mean, I didn't know all these things were going on, but sometimes God will just bring something, you will just be overbearing all of a sudden, and you won't know why. You will try to pull yourself. will just be very, and it will be so bad. It will be, you know, I mean, it will be so bad. I mean, you can even scare away everybody. You can say everybody should just leave you. Everybody should go. Everybody should leave you alone. You know, like Catherine, when she was at the, you know, at the twilight of her life and stuff. You know, I just don't want anyone. You know, most of our workforce, I mean, they were so irritated. Some of them, even as the burial ground, they were very angry, very, very angry. Some felt she was very, I mean, she was a coward. Some felt she was greedy. Some felt she should have thought about all of them. I mean, how do you do this and just put us in a limbo? We've given the whole of our lives to you. So where do we go? So most of them, Oral Roberts, and grafted them into his ministry. And then when Benny Hinn was coming up, because Benny was 24 when that thing happened. And Benny had not seen her face to face. All the experiences that Benny had was...
My network just ceased all of a sudden. But thank God another one was switched. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, so all the experience that Benny had, I can hear you. All the experience Benny had they were far away. It was not one-on-one. You know, he never met her one-on-one. Yeah. When he was coming up that strong, the workforce, they felt, okay, we have someone that we can work with. So Benny also worked with a lot of them, you know, and he helped. They taught him as well. You know, they were familiar with how the anointing, you know, works around, you know, like that. And so they were able to guide him. He made some few mistakes as well, but then they were able to guide him, you know. So that's what I meant. So, you know,
so the sage, didn't have his company.
Yes, he didn't have his company. He didn't have his company because he was also offended.
Okay.
You know, he was also in God. Okay, he was offended in God. He had given quite a, you know, like the whole of his life to God, and the children, you know, suffering, the family suffering. Yeah. He felt that he left paid employment too early, and he also felt that the Christians around him, they were selfish. They did not hear God. Some of them, God had positioned them to help him, but they were waiting for him to come and explain to them. So it was, he felt so bad about the whole thing, you know. And so anytime he talks, he's so direct. So, I mean, if anybody thinks I'm brash, no, you just needed to meet this guy I'm talking about. Man, his own brashness is out of this world. You'll be so irritated. You will not want to see him again. He's that bad. You don't want to see him again. You can imagine me. Anytime I go to him, I prostrate. I prostrate because I pray and I tell God, because you can be some anointing that once you come before them, whatever they issue out to you, if you have not gotten to a level where you can change it, it's forever. Those are dangerous, very dangerous, you know, waters. But I mean, because I'm used to that. That's why most people, when they say, "Oh, I want to meet your sage," I laugh. Because you get to a point where a lot of people have been casualty of needless battle through that, just through, you know, introduction. You know, that's what I was trying to explain to Paul that day, you know.
One second. Yeah. What did you say? Yeah. Yes. Right. They should call on WhatsApp. Her SIM is what? Yes, they should call on WhatsApp. Her SIM is not working. Sorry, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry. So, how is he?
It's fine.
So that's what I was trying to explain to Paul. That you have to be careful. You see, sometimes if you go ahead or you go late, there are consequences for those things. You see, because we have not walked in the days of power. We don't know what power is. We are so disrespectful of these things. We don't regard, the extreme of it is worshiping. I'm not saying you should worship it, but you also be in your God, be in your Jesus, so that you won't be, these things lag sometimes causes irritation. When I expect you to move ahead of me and you are still beside me, it will irritate. Are we in the same God? If we are in the same God, what are you hearing? By what I'm saying, you are not supposed to be where you are. You can't be waiting for me to tell you. So those are the things. And some people, imagine how many of the disciples or the servants of, because he just felt here and I did not find you there. I expected you to be there. Most times when I enter into that atmosphere, I prostrate. Sometimes I can be there. Before I go, I will be in a particular disposition. Okay? Not in a fearful, I'm not talking fearful, whatever, no. Because when you go also with the right attitude, you are promoted. Okay? Honor. You have handled honor correctly. So you are promoted, you are elevated. So you just see that you walk in some gifts, you walk in some precision, you walk in some level of accuracy. Okay? All right. So, as against praying for it or coming into it, you learn it. You learn it, you walk in it, and it is practical to you how you honor, and these are things that they are in the archive in the spirit, because even the appetite or the meal of an average Christian cannot, what do I call it now, the stamina in the spirit cannot take this kind of teaching. So by that instruction in the spirit, we moved and we discovered that irritation, he is also sensing that his life is in danger, because it is a lonely snake that dies alone. So he was tired. The last time I went to him, I cried. I wept out of the place because he was so weak. And he looked into my eyes, and I know what God, this is one of the people that God will use them. They matter. This particular person matters in the next revival that is coming. Is the power is going to walk in will be like John G. Lake, will be like Jesus that walked on water. He will still live long. So, and he gave me certain instructions, and I as he was talking to me, I could sense that he was, using all his, strength. And I wept out of the place, and I pressed in. I told Pastor Deji, and we pressed in together, and we saw that if those that will cover him, they have been irritated and they've left. They've been offended and they've left. He has transferred that kind of offense too, we will not all pass the test of God. Okay? Not passing the test of God cannot take you to hell. No, it cannot. Okay? Not passing the test of God cannot take you to hell. Right? So but it will limit your coverage in the spirit. It will limit the extent to which you will fulfill your destined calling in God. To that extent, God can even take part of your whatever and give it to someone else, right? So that's the only thing that can happen. But making heaven, no, it's not. So that for us, so we try to pray, we try to attend to it. We felt it, but that part of him that is offended in God has to make peace with God. Because sometimes God make himself an offense to his people to test them. We don't know, these things. Sometimes he will withhold water from you. He will withhold. He just want to see. Just a quality assurance check. It has nothing to do with whatever. It just wants to see. He can allow some form of attack. He just wants to see your disposition towards him. So it's a case of getting to a point where you would then pray the kind of prayer that Fashola prayed, and may your loyalty not be tested. Because when it gets to that point, the Lord taught me day before yesterday that I have made room, that there is no temptation my children cannot overcome, except my own. That's why Jesus said, lead us not into temptation. Because if God leads you into temptation, he must deliver you from the evil. So it means, why would he even put a provision that he would lead you into temptation in the first place? Okay? He just wants to tower at a point and test you by way of offense. On earth, offense must come. In heaven, offense must come. That's why it's also called the rock of offense. So on earth, offense must come, but the verdict had been passed already. Whoever brings offense will be tied him. It's been decided. You don't need to pray. You don't need to go to the mountain. Yeah. But for him, he is the offense to test. And when that offense stands and you enter into it, you have to come to him to remove you out done. Okay? Because everybody will get to that. Everybody will get to his own, bus stop. You understand? For Catherine, I believe in my spirit that she took the offense to heaven. I also believe she took the offense to heaven. For Jonah, if he died at the end of Jonah, Bible is it Jonah? Yeah, he would be seen taking that offense to heaven. For Elijah as well, the last argument they had pertained to replacement. How do you announce my replacement right before my eyes? It would amount to taking that offense to heaven. We are not talking of offense that is not in the question. It's totally out of it. It's a family matter. Okay. So if we have come to this point to say that I am your launching pad, you are my launching pad, then we also must fully enter into who brought us into this part in the first place. Okay. That's why most people that have been around us for the past 20 years cannot understand the relationship between myself and Pastor Deji, because it's a model. It's a model of what has not been seen before. Okay? It's not the fullness of it, but it's a model not been seen before. So it's important that you look when God has put someone in your life. It's important that you look at your pace in God. It is your own pace and your place in God that will make the collaboration. It will make the collaboration seamless. To make the collaboration seamless. Okay, but if he is moving and he expects you to move, or you are moving and you expect him to, that's where some people now substitute it with, oh, you are mine, you must do this thing, you are meant to do it, and you'll be saying, what kind of thing is this? If I have submitted myself to you, or submitted myself to the authority of God in you, at least I also am a child of God. The same spirit that speaks to you should speak to me. But the question begs itself, are you in your right environment in the spirit where you should know what should be happening? Okay. So sometimes, I think it was you or it was Robbie I was talking to many months ago, that I don't know why people hear something and it takes months for them to respond. I don't know why. I'm not saying I'm perfect either, but sometimes it has to do with where we are and we must fix it. So sometimes we say, I know this is what I should be doing. Let me wait, Jerry. And we don't know that as you have said that, let me wait, you have finished that thing, will not receive the fullness of the house. Okay, it will not come together. This period is a period of advancement. It's a period where remnants must ascend. And so it is practical. There is few room for theory now. There is few room for classwork or for talk. Now everybody must sit in that place. Okay. So as I am here, what I'm hearing from you, I know something will precede it. Something would happen afterwards, rather. That's what I mean. And I know that I've been having this witness in my spirit now for some months. So I'm happy it's happening, and we need to move. I perceive that, and the technology has to be such that it will be a departure from what we know. Okay, so it's not by human instruction or somebody saying this is what you, or a template. No. It won't profit the entire body if we still follow that template. It won't. Whatever should be done, whatever can be done should be done. I'm in support of everything that will bring you into your full potential in God. Okay, but I perceive in my spirit that God will begin to take my eyes away from some things because of your sake, so that I can come into it. If Paul had not been stopped by the devil, nobody will know Titus, or is it Timothy now? Nobody would know any of those guys. Okay, they could have resisted the devil because he's in his legal whatever to do that, but they also had a superior understanding that thing that I'm to do is not for me. God then released those that he had given the work. It's not that work is beneath him. No, it's not. Okay, That's a good father that knows that, okay, this is where my influence has gotten to this point, and God is now bringing. Otherwise, everybody will be followed at your death now. What kind of, what kind of, we won't, if one will chase 1,000, am I correct? And two will put 10,000 to flight. If one of the two is always under that one, it's not, I mean, the two of them, their full capacity will only be 1,000. But if the other one, he does not need to pull away. He does not need, that's not what I'm saying. He enters fully into his Christ as the other one is there, knowing full well that, oh, God has used him by reason of more exercise that he has than me to come into something. Yeah. But that person coming into his own will mean we are now 10,000. We are now, the influence. So imagine if we are 3 or 4, and then if we are 300 or 3,000 or 1 million. I mean, it is very important. This was the model that made the early disciples to turn the whole world upside down. That was it. That was it. Clear, no human instruction, nothing. The Spirit is one. They get instruction, they key in, it's done. It's just like, imagine experts, a Navy SEAL, experts in their field. Okay, this one knows what to do, that one knows what to do, that one knows what to do. When they enter into a tag team and they do something, it's always neat, very neat. And you see two very experienced professionals. It's just like the last exercise that we did for Harvest Field. No fight, no rancor. We met one meeting, we kill it. We do this, we kill it. We do that, we kill it. Why? Because there are professionals. They know what they are to do. They know what they are to say. They know their disposition about something. The presentation, hardly did they reject anything. Hardly did they refuse anything you say. Not because of anything, but because they know you understand what you're saying. And I will defer to this one will defer to that one, because everybody comes into what their terrain is. Okay, so it is often important that we take the full benefit of that kind of work in the kingdom. If we are detesting one move, you see, the fathers in heaven, that is one of their anger on this generation. Some of them have laid curse upon this generation, and it's only God that can help us. That's the reason why I'm prompted in my spirit to begin to talk to the young ministers now. You see, you cannot turn back and curse when you also are going somewhere. All right? They have not told you that they are God. They have not told you. I don't know why this bottled up hatred is coming from. They have not told you. They've not. Yes, some people might have taken advantage of what you have given to them, but they are none of those. They are not those people. You don't take the anger, out of. You don't take it out of them. You take it out of the system. Yes, they might have laid down the system, but they have also told you many times that they were walking in the light of what they knew. Okay, so you cannot turn to them and begin. When you also are going somewhere, God is legally bound in the spirit to lock you up. And he will do it. He will just bypass your generation, God forbid, and go to the next one and fully unleash whatever he wants to do. Because you cannot do that. They have not said at any point in time that they are God. In fact, some of them told me that when they got to the panacea of what God brought them into, they locked the place from anybody ever entering with this kind of spirit. And check it very well in the place of the spirit after Idahosa, who else ever entered into that dimension? Very few. God knows his people. They are not bound by CNN. They are not known, but there are very, very few people that have the heart of God, that has the seal of God, and that has the heart for true revival. Very few people. But when most of these people got to this place, the Obadaris, the Babajides, when they got to this place, they saw the generation coming and what they would do, and it was just okay for them to lock it. That was what Moses was telling them. Don't you think I know what you will do? Samuel also said the same thing. Don't you think I know what you will do? So they have not at any point that they promised you. They walked in the little light that they knew. And so we are meant to be the perfection of what they have started. The reason we have not entered into that perfection yet is because of the denial of the grace of God that God has brought to us through them. God having prepared the better things for us so that they without us should not be made perfect, right? So those that have gone, they understand that we are their perfection, and so we are meant to enter into the full perfection when we honor them. That's why I had to insist that day to okay, that she goes to honor, because we can't be right 100%. We can't be right 100%. I can't be right 100%. There are things that Dasola will do far better than me. God will keep it away from me, and their generation will come and they will do it well. They will do it better. We must understand that. Towards the latter end of Ora Robert's life, what was he doing? He was just following Jerry Savelle and Kenneth Copeland and those people. He will just follow them to their crusade. They will use him. They will borrow him. he will say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, at the end of the day. In fact, Benny Hinn also recruited him as one of his staff, as one of his board of trustees in the twilight of his ministry. Because at the end of the day, that's what it should be. I told you before, the benefactor or the beneficiary will one day become the benefactor. So each time when I say I will preach in somebody's meeting, I will preach in somebody's program, what I am saying is that you will be better than me. It won't be, you'll be better than me, and what I have, by the grace of God, I will use it to support what you are doing. You think if Pa Helton is alive today, he won't be sitting down in the congregation to listen to Adeboye? You think he will have the kind of clout that Adeboye has now? He won't now. But Adeboye knows that that is my father. That is the person. Without him, all of you, millions, thousands, billions of people listening to me, you won't listen to me. And by nature, that honor will be conferred onto Pa Helton. Everybody all over the world will have regard, even more regard for him than they have for Adeboye. If we want to walk in the fullness of that thing, it has to start in little things like this, very little things we have to start it. He told me to stop because there are some things that you bring out in small measure. So I believe strongly that we have to be deliberate about these things. Okay, that's it. But you understand.
You said? Okay.
Somebody's with me is asking me, do you understand what I have said? I said, yes, you will understand. He said, do you understand now? I said, no, you don't, but that you understand.
I
See, that percent that came with their delegation this week. I'm enjoying is I said it's Idahosa.
Yeah.
That came in company. I'm enjoying it this weekend.
Okay.
Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. I think I think your response is correct. I understand and I will understand. And, yes, so taking all the necessary steps and measures that are necessary to I mean, just even before this conversation that we had today, I had already thought of how I'm going to make, there's even the administrative stuff of what we do weekly and stuff, how this is different from the partners, because I'm like, I cannot think that this thing revolves around me. So how about, I was just thinking about it, I think this last night or something, how about doing maybe a weekly rotation between Omodasola and Bolanle and saying, you know what, guys, handle the meeting from top to bottom. Let nobody even know that it's me or is any, it's whatever, because I cannot be defined by these things. It's one of my greatest prayers too. Not that they are not necessary, they're very important, they're very necessary, but I see how easily people can take the work of God beyond the God of the work. I mean, I don't know if it is related to what you're saying. So I shouldn't hug the thing as if no. And then, be able to attend to things that God may be calling me to do. Not feel like, oh, this is the excuse why I cannot step into the place I need to step into.
Yeah.
Yeah, already, I mean, when I went I told you about the meeting I went to, Ugo's fellowship. I mean, in my mind, I was just going there as I was just invited now. But I was a bit, let's say surprised, in the way, they expect that. Can you hear me?
I'm very well.
Okay. In the way I was received and in the expectation, they didn't let me go without sharing a word. They didn't let me go without, saying, bless us. I'm like, I came here to listen, and when it was time to go, people came after me, asking me questions, asking me to pray for them, I'm like, okay. It was like, no, this has not happened to me before. you know. But then, I mean, I could see that better start. I mean, someone that I've not even ever met before came to meet me and said, "Oh, thank you for what you shared. This is where I am. This one, I need the Lord, blah, blah, blah." And, then I had to actually, speak to her and help her, shift her into where she needs to shift into. Another person came to meet me, told me about all the things she was going through, like, And so these things, I'm like, okay. Just the same way Joy too cornered me. After, I mean, me, I would have thought, why is she not talking to you? Why is she talking to me? So yeah, I can see how my attention may be needed in things other than what I've been doing before. And now I just need to be in that place.
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you. There was, when Oyakhilome was in the university, he did not know Idahosa from anywhere, and he really wanted to meet Idahosa. The guy that connected them was talking about Idahosa like someone that he prepares food for at home, a father that he carries his bag. And deep in the heart of Oyakhilome said, he has been waiting to ask him, and you are still like this. So he said, from then on, he has made up his mind that if I meet this man, I will collect something that at the end of my life, I won't be just telling stories. There are people like that. When I was working with some of the sages, I met people that worked with Babalola. There was no sign that they worked with Babalola. Yet I met some people that, in fact, even from the day that they announced that they have given us access to come and meet them, we started fasting, because you could, even in the communication, you could see the fear of God descending on you, not that like you are going forward to a judgment day. I have stood before, God knows, I've stood before some of them that it's as though God was right there with me. And he will tell me to open the door. They will tell you, when you came through, rain is falling. And by the time you get to this place, go through another part, rain will not fall. Just to show you that you are not just. Samuel said, I will call the rain to fall now. I need to. God will not be happy with me if everything you do is this. Let me just say it plain and simple. That's one. Two, you will not do justice to humanity if this is all you will have to tell them about me. No. People that have not worked closely with me to this extent, I pray for them in sowing the seed of God in them to say, the world will know I came because of you. Your own will be more than that. So now God will just be making you to see it is just the basic requirement. If what God is doing in me, He will do it in you, and we are a pair, then expect more of that kind of expect more. It's nothing more. Technically, God that has done great things, mighty in Peter to the Jews, will definitely be mighty in Paul to the Gentiles. The same God that is mighty in Daniel Bello will definitely be mighty in Tolu. It is what is that is it. That is it. And the earth will respond to that. We will not fall short of that requirement. Pastor, did you always say that? And people have always told him that, wow, when you introduce this your friend to us, the kind of the thing you even say, the whole thing, it surpasses every expectation. Now, was I ever under pressure? In terms of age, he's 11 years older than I am. Okay? In terms of the depth of the word of God, I mean, I don't, well, I'm always surprised when he says the things he says. People come to meet me that, and they've tested it, the wife, everybody around him, that if Daniel Bello speaks, it's like God has spoken to Pastor Dijolon. He does not, you cannot pray. You cannot. If any other person speaks, you can say, go to the mountain. We'll tell his children, this is what the person tells me. Go, take this word, take it to the mountain and pray. I want to be sure. Go over there. But if Daniel Bello calls, now to the glory of God, but what I'm trying to point is, I was never under pressure. Never, not one bit. Why? Because the model of God between us is not for one to talk like the other. Number one, we are of two different schools of thought. We don't even look alike in any way. So why should he talk like me? Why should I talk like him? Number two, there is no form of envy between us. Not even healthy covetousness. How do they call that thing?
Healthy competition.
When you are putting all those healthy competition, I don't regard. It does not even exist. There is no competition, not to talk of whether it's healthy or not. It does not even come into question. And I notice that this work is the one to do it. I don't begin to now explain to people who he is to me, who I am to him. There is no, there is nothing like that. And so he comes into his place. The grace of God is so mighty in him, and he utilizes it. Someone said that Saturday, that at some point he just thought to himself, was it DB that convened this meeting or someone else? Because I just spoke for 5 minutes. We will experience more of God if we learn to get out of the way, because it's not about us. So it is important that you sit into your place. No pressure. But the earth recognizes in the spirit the weight of the season, and that what God is doing in one is doing in the other. It is like, see, I'm grateful to God that this conversation is happening. When the solar and their generation get Gerald, all of them, God is setting them, and God is even going ahead of those ones. Zoella, all those generations. God is, I will preach for that generation because I will be old enough, I will be alive. They will be here, they will be mighty in works, they will be mighty in deed, and I will be alive to consolidate on what they are doing. Not to now talk of you. Today in the world, everywhere, all over the world, my place with Pastor DG, it is not contestable. Okay? Nobody can talk for him. Nobody. That is what the spiritual connotation of partnership in the spirit is called. Either from a father to a son, or from or of the same of ranking that is a little higher or closer, or a partnership that has to do with coming together of the old and the new, like myself and Pastor Deji. That is issue. So it cannot be subjected to saying, oh, but his wife is there. No, she has her place and she understands that place. So there's no need for competition. But as far as this world is concerned today, God has given me that authority to be the one that can speak for him, next to him. In all matters? No. In matters related to the family, that is gifted to the wife. But there are matters greater than that. David said, with Jonathan, I've learned the love that is greater than women. These things come in compartments, okay? They come in compartments. They come in compartments. And it's important, it's wisdom to understand that part. So it is just, I won't say more than that. You look at yourself and God and myself and see where you fall. And if you fall short of the standard that is given to you, there is reward for it too. Because we cannot carry these things with less of the grace that it has been given. There is every grace that goes with you from me through God that strengthens the both of us. I have said it to you many times. It will so happen that you will raise the dead, you will heal the sick, you will cleanse the leper. It will happen. You have dreamt about it many times. Okay, you are doing your own. It first started with the two of us. I handed over to you. You were doing your own. I was doing my own somewhere else. I came back. It would now because there is no time. So you might be thinking in your mind that, well, maybe the only thing I'm doing now is I'm just clerical and this. No, people and the earth is not seeing it. These two witnesses are not seeing it like that. Matter of fact, heaven also is not putting it in their heart like that. Very soon it will be a case of, okay, if we cannot get Daniel Bello, at least Tolu is there. We can get Tolu. So I trust God that you are not that type of person that will just, no, I don't, you are not. It will not even happen. No. You are a greater work generation, so
Sir?
I don't expect more. I don't expect less. Say you are a greater work. I don't expect. I say you are a greater works generation.
Okay.
So
The network is bad, so I'm not, it's cutting you off. But I heard, you said I'm a greater works generation, so you don't expect less.
yeah. Pastor Deji is always excited in the spirit. It's always so. I mean, I thank God that in my lifetime, even if I don't enjoy too many friendship, that one stood out for me. And I thank God that there is a record of that in heaven. God knows, seeing someone that joyfully expresses his happiness of what God is doing through me, without any rancor, without anything. And I thank God when it comes to me to tell me, oh, people that have known me, they give me so money. They send this to me. They send that to me. I mean, the last meeting, I was so touched in my spirit when people started sending. I remember the first invitation, you were the only one I told about my state of unhappiness. You were the only one I told. I brought in someone, and people were not, and I could see that they don't showed me that God is planting something in the heart of people. On their own, people are beginning to call, let me send so amount, let me send so amount, let me send so, without even being told anything. And I see the joy. He would always tell me, anything you need from me for this work, you go forward. Whatever it is you need, I will give it to you. That is it. That is it. If I put him on a meeting, he will even be the one chasing me. When am I preaching for you? What is the program? You told me 2 days ago or 3 days ago that we should talk about next week so that I can remind him. Today, he was the one chatting me to say, what is the meeting? What time is the meeting? What date is the meeting? You see, I mean, I'm so, I'm so joyful, and so I'm not also afraid to share with him, because that is where the diminishing return of true revival comes in. When you are afraid that, oh, if I don't tell him everything, or if I tell him everything, it will look like he's outshining me. There is nothing like that. You must say it so that more can happen to you. I call it situation report. It must happen. I'm not afraid. I pick my call. I give him every load that we can be on the phone for hours. I will tell him this was how I when I counsel this was what happened. This was what happened, and then he will give counsel in places where I did not handle someone very well. He will tell me in places where I handled it, but I should stretch the person further. He will say it as well. And then the same thing, he also will come back and give his own report as well. And I would, and he knows, as he's saying it, the Lord is already downloading. If there is anything God has given to me between the two of us, I mean, in our relationship, is as to bring, I easily, bring down blueprints. And with my young mind, I can put it in very articulated manner. And that's all he needs. He will just pick it up and run with it as if it's the one God spoke to. And that's it. Same for me too, that when I receive something and I know that this thing is powerful, he's taking me to the next level, he's the one I call. And he's already there. Either he's saying that he prayed me into it or something. But that is the joy. That's the joy. Not one time will he say, oh, this platform, he was just thanking God. He was thanking God for 1st of October, that God has said a lot to him about Nigeria, and he was telling God, which platform. I didn't say what I said you will declare. We didn't sit down at any place to talk about what will happen. No, I said you will declare. And I've said it to him many times. Wherever I go, how people will know whether they know me or not is knowing him. It's short. It's very simple. If you have been around me long enough and you don't know him, you don't know me. You will begin to see that when we have that attitude, we are giving room for true revival. Okay? Giving room for true revival. His 50th birthday, when he called me and he said, well, what are we doing? I said, I leave that department to your wife. Okay? I will honor her with that. Let her, except the Lord does not want you to do anything. Okay? So and then you will see that there is no form of, there is nothing. Sometimes I take it upon myself. I bless the wife. I can ask for her account number and send, you see, it's very important. What am I saying? What belongs to you completely, wholly belongs to me. Anything happens to you today, God forbid, just go to heaven and be sure that your wife, your children, everything will be well taken care of. Those are the things that give room for true revival to come. So I expect to hear more of things like this. I expect to hear more. And as you begin to come into them, you will just see naturally that there is no pressure. Naturally, you just see. Naturally, you just see that there is no pressure. Sometimes it will just dawn on you that, well, I'm preaching today. It's not me. I because this is the model I have seen. You are waiting for me to say, okay, Tolu, you'll be talking on so. No, it won't happen. But I will know the times you should talk, but I will keep quiet to see whether you are really working in the promptings of, because we have to measure these things. There is something he will show me. There are things he will not show me. It is you that he will show, and you'll be the one to say it, and all of us, including me, will listen. It is just very simple. So get ready. There's no, when you're walking in your God, you will not one time have I ever been pressured or anything. Not one time. Not one time. Pastor Deji very well. When he prepares for his meeting, he prepares as if that's the last time he will preach. In fact, he would gather different Bible around him. He will pray for days and days and days on ending. As he's preparing, he's praying. But I'm not like that. And I don't even try to come close. Okay? I don't. I just wait on God, and he drops the whole template, and I follow almost like a very lazy man. I just follow and that's it. At not one time have I ever come close to being under pressure, but not God is my witness. It has never happened before. Why? Because I have learned in reverent fear to enter into him. I've learned in reverent fear to wait on him. That's why 2 seems to be chasing 10,000. Okay? It is important. You would expect more of this. Okay? Even if I am on the island, you would expect more of this. Among women, among men, everywhere. I mean, it's not today. God has been giving that proverb since, with those people, with the people that put your name as Mrs. Bello, with those people that saw you in Ibano or something, and say, look at Daniel Bello's wife and children. They didn't understand it, but God was saying the same thing in a different way, but they did not understand it. And of course, that's not their fault, but that's how people, that's the highest level of office that in our earthly setting. That's what we can give to it. But there are callings that are higher than that. In the hierarchical structure of God, there are callings that are far higher than that. So that's it. So don't be surprised. Okay, so I think I'm good. What we needed to talk about. I think I've gotten the meat of what we should be talking about. And if you don't come into what you are what is calling you, I'll start having difficulty. I just want you to know that. And if I have difficulty, I will hold you accountable. I'm very serious. Anything happens to my life, I'm not able to move at the pace of God, I will hold you accountable. If any part of my life today responds in a way that is below standard to attack, or there are some part that the covering that is expected or required is not there, I will hold you accountable. So if I'm saying this, imagine what the cloud of witnesses will be saying by now. Because anyone that makes me fail or anyone that makes me fall short is naturally going to stand before them to explain as well. I'm serious about these things. It's not casually. We are at a point now that things need to be said clearly. I tell you many times, I'm waiting for you. I'm just waiting. There are things I want to say. Starting now. One day somebody was bound by some spirits far away in Dubai. And as Pastor Digi was praying for her, Pastor Digi just said, get me Daniel Bello. Unannounced. Where I was in Lagos. I was watching TV with everybody, and suddenly I felt a need to pray. So I took excuse. I went upstairs and I started praying. That was where the call came. I was right in my habitat when the call came. So as I picked the call and I heard Pastor Digi's voice connecting me to somebody, suddenly I just started prophesying. The meeting ended and all of the people that made the meeting happen, they were asking themselves, Pastor, did you tell him anything before now? I said, no, he didn't discuss anything. And truthfully, he didn't discuss anything with me. I broke down everything God put in my everything, laid everything out and clearly, and the thing was done and the operation was done. Bye-bye, good luck, bam, bam, it finished. That is where you are coming to. With me, that's it. If it's anything short of that, I'm not building a model that is befitting of God's standard.
I just want to make a comment.
No pressure in any way.
I just want to make it because you keep, and you just said it again. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. But I hope you know that all you have said is putting me under pressure.
Yes.
It's just a comment.
All the words.
All that you said is putting me under pressure, and you keep saying no pressure, no pressure, and I'm like, God, does this guy know what he's putting me under? Because I'm not running away from it. I don't think I should run. If I fall, I fall. If I fall flat on my face, I fall flat on my face and I stand up again. But this is just a setup, like serious setup. In two dimensions. So you have a template that you are running now, which if you are looking at it from so I'm going to use first generation, second generation. From the first generation, it was a trailblaze. But in this second generation, it's a template to follow. So I hope you see that that's a pressure. That's a pressure point for me. Network.
So you are responding from two different worlds, which is okay. Which is okay. The first one is the natural world that responds, but no, it does not respond. It reacts. It reacts. So that is where you are seeing the pressure from. I'm not worried because it will fade away. It's just normal. It so happens like that. When you look at so many things, angels talk to him, elders come, people this, that, he has been doing this since he was born, all manner of things. We have had so many things. When did I even start entering into these things? All those things. Now, there is the second one that equalizes us before God, and which is the faith that he has given to us. It's not for us to look down on one another or to trivialize what is given, but is to enter into God's reverent fear, to thank God for his mercies. Okay? That is it. So I hear you perfectly, but it will still not take me away from what needs to be said, because when you get enter
like I said, it's a comment. I don't expect you to reduce I don't expect the pressure to reduce if there's well, you understand what I'm saying? Thank you for that.
So yeah, so when you enter into that place, I know that you'll be fine. It's okay. It's very okay. I received the comment. Very, very okay. It's fine. I mean, who will not be afraid? Jerry Savelle said when Oral Roberts came to him and said, I want to go with you to your crusade in Kenya. Can I go with you, sir? He said to himself, who will refuse Almighty Oral Roberts? Okay? So right there, he said yes. He said, no, don't say yes right before me. Go and pray. And he got back, and the Lord said, go back. Why are you coming to meet me? You have answered, you have said yes, go and tell him. And when they got to Kenya, Oral was always saying, sir, what do you need me to do? During crusade, Oral will sit down. He's not called. And there were lots of people that needed to be healed, and a lot of pressure was on Jerry. But Jerry was afraid to come to him to say, sir, this was somebody. Oral was like a grandfather to Jerry. Jerry's father is Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland's father is Oral Roberts. So there was no closeness whatsoever. And Oral was just there looking at him until he was able to muster all the courage to introduce him to the crowd, to people as his grandfather, and this and that and everything. And then he gave him even when he gave him the microphone, he said, Oral asked him, how many minutes, sir? Of course, I'm on your train. You are the one paying. You paid for you brought me here. You chartered flight. You did everything. Said 45 minutes. He said he started, and all the work that he was rolling sleeves. He just removed his cap and the rest. He said he was even the one telling him, Oral is enough. Is enough. It's okay. Oral said, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take the mic. So, and together they went to negotiate. The government of Kenya at that time was going to give him a land for him to build a hospital, and he thought that the finance he was thinking from, and Oral right there, the president was there, the vice president was there, and Oral rebuked him before all of them that don't ever think too small before me anymore. Yes, I'm saying yes. One should be afraid. It's not it's not, but except we have called ourselves. That's when these things will come to this point. Nobody receives anything unless it be given to him from above. Nobody. And nobody is greater than God. Not one person. Not one person. Okay? Yesterday, when Idahosa arrived in my room, I was on my knees. I was like, what will, even in his lifetime, I was not even close. What will bring the spirit of an elder, of a father to me? And he was with me, and he said he will be with me throughout this weekend. He will be, easy, and the teachings were clear. Immediately he came like his regalia, like he came. I was relieved of so many things. Could that have happened? But he was saying to me, I am here for you. If I want to prostrate, I will prostrate. If I want to kneel down in reverent fear, I will be afraid. So I'm saying it's okay. It's fine. It's not. I'm not being Christianese. I'm not speaking Christianese. It's very, very much in order. Okay? Very much in order. It's fine. The same way in your dream, somebody said something and you said, not on my watch. Where did that thing come from? You remember that dream?
Yeah.
Where did it come from? Okay? So I leave that to God. It's not greater than him. Nothing greater than him. Okay. Oh. Okay, so I can hear you.
You know what happened just now? I was watching the screen, so I network froze. So by the time the network came back, I didn't see you walking. I just saw you sitting. So it just felt like you just appeared. You get it? Because I was watching the screen, and then you just said, "I just heard a voice. I can hear you." Then next thing, you appeared. Yeah, I just went back to read the dream. I even titled the dream "Not on My Watch."
How did that happen?
I'm the one that said
remember then in school. Yes, you were the one that said it now.
Okay.
You said it so convincingly with every anger and with every side of you. I remember when we're in school, there used to be this guy. He christened himself Pastor DG's deputy. It's not my name. Nothing concern me. Like some people would, he didn't pull one strand. But anytime we get into a place, he will not just be happy when Pastor Deji is with me, or when he's deferring to me for something, or I'm deferring to him for something. He will just not, because not today. The rest is history. I mean, it's what who God has given. Okay, just make sure that there is this template in heaven that we are all following. That's all. There is no I mean, today Arome is experiencing tremendous peace in his ministry because he learned to sack the deputy that did not have a record in heaven. Not that he was not a Christian, but there was no record of that deputy working with him. And the deputy that God gave him was one person that was in a place. In fact, he was not even known. He just got to the ministry that year. But before then, he's from one fight to the other, from one quarrel to the other. It will be, as you are finishing one like this, another one is happening. It will be calling everybody. As he's calling Lagos, he's calling this. Come and see what Arome is doing. Come and see what is this? From that time till now, and you will never know in his ministry. You will never. In fact, if you get there now, you will think Austin is the deputy. The way my friend has colored everything, you will think is but the guy is just in his place. The only thing he does with Arome is to pray with him. And Arome is gifted with something that very few people know. He can pray for days unending, not whatever. He can start from today and the next 10 days is going like that. He's not command. So imagine that is deputy in the same. That is. I've never heard that guy preach. Very unassuming. But it's the spirit behind anything that is happening in that ministry. So some people, they will receive the letter. Some people, they will receive the spirit. We'll compare notes. A matter of time. It always happens like that. I respect Kolanda. I don't have anything against him. He's a wonderful person, a child of God indeed. God is doing great stuff in his life. Great and awesome, wonderful things. Okay? Yeah, but the elders that, prevailed on Rainer to hand over and everything, he wasn't part of all those, in fairness to him, or not. Okay? What God is doing and what God is doing through the son of Reinhard will definitely be times 3 of what is happening. Not anything, not any. And he's starting small like his father. He's doing everything. He's in Ibadan. He was in Oshogbo about maybe a few months ago. He has moved to Ibadan now. You see, some people will receive the letter. Some people will receive the spirit. Enter into the template in heaven to receive what is given. Not we are with Daniel Bello, we are with Arume, we are with Kumuyi, we are with Adeboye, we are with no, not all those things. Because when the cloud descends, the goods must be delivered. If it is not, it's just a name. And God forbid, it's just a name. So that's it.
Thank you.
Things that can really face it. And I thank God I did.
You said what?
And I thank God I did.
I didn't hear what you said before that.
What part didn't you hear?
You said, I thank God I did. That's what I heard.
So let me begin to. I said there were things that I should normally have brought to you.
Okay.
That I should normally have brought to you to do for me.
Yeah.
But I started holding them back because I did not want to make you, sit in that administrative whatever for you. I just knew that there is something God is doing this time that will bring you into where I've been waiting since. And I'm glad I did.
Okay.